Well, it's a huge pleasure to welcome my last guest of the year. It's been a lovely first year. Welcome to Scandinavian pop god, Dhorin Fireheart. Hello.
Hello there. Thank you for having me, Van. I'm so honored, really.
Ah, absolute pleasure. So great to chat to you and meet you. And also, can you describe as? I feel like you've made a proper effort with your outfit here. What are you wearing for our listeners? What's going on here? Bit of gold.
Yeah, I thought since like it's close to New Year's, so I just thought, like why not bring it with golden outfit, and it's all designed by me as well. I do some, like
Ah.
logo design on the side, and you can see like in a lot of my music videos and all of that, I wear some of my own outfits. I'm even wearing a golden, how do you say, pants? Should
Oh
I?
yes, please. Oh wow. Oh yeah. Oh, that's amazing. Wow, cool. So you make all so yeah, because I was gonna, all your videos and everything I've kind of seen your visuals and stuff are really great and really cohesive as a kind of look as well. So you make quite a lot of that stuff yourself.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I figured that because I always see, like artists in their own music videos and all that, they're wearing all of these, like really expensive stuff that I just feel
Mm,
like, oh, I can't afford that, not in my student, like allowance and
yeah,
stuff like that. So it's much cheaper to do it by yourself.
that's great. Bringing
Yeah,
DIY into every aspect.
exactly.
And you've got a bit of makeup on as well. What's
Yeah,
inspiring? What's inspiring this look here? What's going on?
yeah. It's taken from like Viking warriors, like their own makeup. They used blue a lot, so
Mm,
this is kind of like my own interpretation of that. Because I mean, they used to like inscribe, like runes or like straight lines or stuff
right.
like that. So I just did something something inspired by that, since I'm very inspired by Vikings in my music making and all of that. So I thought, yeah, I mean, and also I can't be wearing a Viking helmet during my interview, so
I mean, I would have been absolutely happy with that if you if you brought it out. Well, I mean, if you're okay, let's dive right into that because I found it so interesting, just the influence of you in your music of of the Vikings and like mythology and yeah, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
absolutely. Like for me, it has always been like ever since I was a little kid, I've always been like very interested in Vikings and the mythology surrounding it. I actually, a lot of my lyrics are inspired by passages in the Edda, which is kind of like the Viking Bible, so to speak. It's where all of
Okay.
the, like mythologies and stories that have been passed from generations in Iceland, and Norway, and Sweden.
Hmm.
And those are, written so beautifully that they have given me, like such a huge inspiration to make music. And I always think that for some like strange reason that everything that's sort of like connected to Viking culture, um, it is always sort of like taken by metal music makers.
Yeah. Hmm.
There's never like a really like an electro Viking, like a queer Viking,
Yeah.
and I feel that's so sad because like Viking mythology has a lot of like queer elements to it.
Yeah.
Some that is even more apparent, like that than what these like other musicians are. I'm not saying that they're doing it wrong, but I'm just saying that it's just such a narrow way of
Mm-hmm.
seeing it. And also I just want to make it more personal,
Mm-hmm.
in a way that you can connect a lot of these themes and stories to stuff that happens around your life. Because there is this theory, I don't know if you've heard about it, but that all of the old gods from different cultures, let's say Greek, Norse, Egyptian, are
Mm-hmm.
all based around facets of your own personality, of like
Right.
human personality. For example, like Odin, he's very much like a proud personality, while Thor is, like he's kind of crazy, but also very honorable, and like every different god is connected to different facets of the human personality, and I
Yeah.
thought that that is something interesting to put into my music.
Yeah.
And they're not so, how do you say, omniscient or 100% perfect like some other gods. For for
Right.
example, like
Yeah, yeah.
I don't want to anger any Christian people, but like the is this very like perfect in every single
Hmm.
way. It's and all of these other gods, they sort of feel like more human because they're more
Yeah.
close to
They can fail
humanity.
and make mistakes as well, I guess.
Actually, yeah, they're super flawed. Like Thor is a downright asshole and like stories, which is why I haven't written a song about him yet. So
Is it coming?
yeah,
Is there one coming? Okay. Cool.
yeah,
Oh, I really love that. I mean, so I grew up in Scotland and obviously not the same, but in terms of all kind of going back, like myths and mythology, and there's quite a lot of that kind of stuff being rediscovered at the moment, and so much of it is like queer as in a big sense of the word. I think in just terms of kind of like different people in different lives, different stories, and yeah, I think it's a really great inspiration that you've got. I love it.
thank you so much. I really want to make it more queer as well because I feel that a lot of I don't know, like queer people, when they see like Vikings or stuff like that, they might think like, oh, this is this is like ultra straight or ultra hetero, and I
Hmm.
just want to change that because in fact, it's quite the opposite. If you read the source material, it's all very, very queer.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, tell us a little bit how you got into music making itself. So you're based in Stockholm, in Sweden. That's where you are right now.
Hmm.
Lovely Stockholm. I've never been, but I've always wanted to visit. So, hopefully, at some point in the future.
Yeah.
And yeah, how did you get into music making? You do DJing as well, is that right?
Yes, absolutely. That's my side job.
Hmm.
Uh, uh, but I got into music making, let's see, it was like, I think it was like 4 years ago. I mean, I had been in an on and off sort of like relationship with music. I had like an analog synth,
Oh yeah.
just, like played around with. And there was never any structure with those compositions because I was kind of like, oh wow, this sounds really good, and I could just play it for like hours on end, and nothing would come out of it. But then let's see, I think it was like during my third year of university where I got my heart broken, like really, really bad,
Okay.
and I just it was something that didn't even come to I was dating someone, and that didn't even like result in a relationship, and I was just like really, really hurt deep inside. And I remember I was always telling like this guy that yeah, I'm making music, and like there was nothing sort of like tangible with like the stuff that I was creating. So afterwards, I just kicked myself in my bum, and I told myself, you know what, I'm just gonna do it. It doesn't matter. I have to pour my feelings into something. It doesn't have to be good. It doesn't have to be like this perfect masterpiece. I just have to write. I have to play. I have to make something that is my own music. And the sort of like headspace that I was in, it just let me analyze all of it, because you see here in the background, I have like more than 1,000 CDs, and I just
Yeah, that's quite a collection.
yeah, and I just, thought to myself, like, hey Doran, why don't you like do something special with it? Try to like study the how do you say, the form of a song, like when should the chorus come, when should the just give myself some structure, and then I just started playing. It sounded really bad. All of those recordings are on my SoundCloud, as a testament of where
Good.
I
Well,
where
it's good, good to see those steps as well, right?
exactly. Yeah. And I also feel that a lot of people that that want to start out with music always have this s- really stupid thought, I think, that they have to be sort of like virtuosos, or like something that's is like really good at music. And you don't have to be. Like, seriously, everything that you do at first just is bound to sound bad. I mean, I'm sorry, but um what's most important is that you pour your soul and feelings into it, and that it becomes meaningful for you when you create. And since that time when I was heartbreaking, and I started just writing music almost every single day, like one hour or 30 minutes, because I figured if I overstepped those hours, I would be mired in like my own like headspace.
Hmm.
And suddenly after like 3 hours everything sounds really, really good. So
Yeah.
I want to keep that freshness of the mind after like 1 hour or 30 minutes, like and since I study a lot as well on the sides, that is like the time that I allow myself to
Hmm.
create. So yeah,
Amazing. So
yeah, sorry.
good stuff coming out of heartbreak, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Like, don't underestimate the power of
The
heart.
Power of Heartbreak. Yeah. Good song by you. um, do you know, has he heard your music?
Sorry?
Has your ex heard the music? Do you know? The guy that
No,
broke your heart.
I think so. I mean, here in Sweden, when everyone just when you leave someone or dump someone, you almost never hear from that
That's it.
person. And yeah, it's just very, or maybe he has, or maybe
Maybe.
who
I
knows.
guess. Hey, yeah, we'll never know, I guess. But the,
Basically,
the, the music is its own thing now as well, which is cool. And yeah, you can tell it's really personal. It's like really interesting music that you make, and it's proper dance music as well, but like with that edge of heartbreak, I think underneath it as well, which like I absolutely love. Proper sucker for that type of music. So yeah, I think you're doing an amazing body of work from what I've heard so far. So
yeah, it's I tend to aim for that, like tears in the dance floor
tears on the
sort of.
dance floor. Oh yeah. So we were chatting a little bit online. So I was in a podcast with my friend Kate Anderson, who's a musician in London as well, and he does a podcast called Lost Spaces, where
Mhm.
he talks to people about queer spaces and like bars, clubs, whatever that have closed down. So I was talking
Yeah.
to him about one called East Block in London, and I used to go there dancing by myself, and then we ended up chatting a little bit about that as well, and just how we both have a love for a bit of a dance, and sometimes dancing by yourself as well. What's your ideal? Obviously not now, but in life before, and hopefully life again in the future. What is your kind of ideal dancing night out scenario?
Oh my God. I think it has to be one of those spontaneous dance floor visits where
Hmm.
don't have uh, you don't have any plans with your friends or anything. You just feel like, you know what? I'm just gonna go out and dance. I'm just gonna get into the mood. Like, think about the outfits,
Hmm.
and then just go out. Perhaps start in a bar somewhere. Like, chat up with a handsome stranger. Perhaps, I
Oh
don't
yeah.
know, or
Here's
not.
hoping. Or
Exactly.
not. Yeah, that's okay too.
And hopefully it has to be like a good DJ or something like that, because here in Sweden I don't want to talk shit about Swedish
Oh,
gay
gossip.
clubs. uh, but like there's this typical like of wanting to play like a Schlager, like Eurovision style music,
Uh-huh.
and that is fun. But like at 2 a.m., like when you're super drunk and you have to just like sing your heart out,
Hmm.
Eurovision music is perfect, but like Eurovision music during the whole I mean, I can't have that. So
Okay, it's a certain point for that, but not the whole time.
exactly, exactly, yeah. So it has to be, like I don't know, like a good freaking mix, like that is not just Eurovision.
Absolutely. Well, do you know what? So, keeping in this vein, because when we listen to this show, so this will be uh, on Glitterbeam on New Year's Eve. So, if you're listening right now, hopefully you're having a lovely New Year's Eve. But you can also see this full video on YouTube afterwards. But I think we'll do a toast in a bit, but I feel that we could let's have a little drink to continue this conversation. I think we can maybe chat about the perfect DJ set for a New Year's Eve if you're
Mm.
up for discussing some of your favorite tracks. So I said let's bring a little drink to each other whilst we're doing that. So what have you got?
I have got some Spanish cava,
Oh, lovely, great.
Fricks, and I don't know, Frisian, or well, something. But
Well, yeah, let's go ahead and pop that. I have a good old little bottle of whiskey here
oh,
from Scotland, so I'm going to have a wee whiskey to do
yeah,
that. Will help us in the way. So, hope New Year's Eves are going well, whatever you may be up to.
exactly. Me, I think I'll just be at home, with my family and stuff.
Yeah, well, I think it's going to be a very different one this year for sure.
Yeah.
But, well, do you know, we'll do a proper toast in a bit, but let's say cheers to New Year as it is for just now. Cheers, cheers.
Yeah.
Skål, is that right?
Yes, skål.
Skål. Okay. Slange in Gaelic in Scotland. So. Mhm. Ooh, that's good. It's
Yeah,
good for my. I've had a bit of a cold as well, so whiskey's helps.
absolutely.
So okay, so take yourself. Imagine you are DJ Doran on the New Year's Eve dance party. Talk us through your set list. What's going to be? What type of music's going to be in there?
Oof.
I know
It's
I'm
gonna
putting you on the spot here, but hey,
well, it's gonna be obviously some ABBA in some sort of way, like
okay,
really all your love on me. I,
great.
I feel that song is very underrated because a lot of people just I mean a lot of people just want Dancing Queen, but
Hmm.
they all your love on me has that it has that sort of like urgent
Oh
euphoric
yeah,
sadness about it, which I really really love.
it's one of my favorites. That's yeah. Hmm.
Yeah,
Hmm. Hmm.
it's
Da, da, da. Yep, great. Good. Yeah, get the moves out. Hmm.
and obviously some Robin as well.
Of
Dancing,
course.
yeah, like dancing on my own. I mean, that one is so sad, but it has to be played, you
Mhm.
know.
And well, and we've got to maybe we have to accept that there's going to be a lot of dancing on our own.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
hopefully at the same time, wherever you may be, if you're stuck in your house, just I think you got to just dance. There has to be dancing, even if it's in your room on New Year's Eve at least.
Yeah,
I read somewhere that you said that you were having a dance every day as well during lockdown. Is that is that right?
absolutely. Yeah, I have to do it because I feel that a lot of the rhythm that is just stuck in your body, you just have to let it out. And especially nowadays where you just don't, you just sit in front of your computer
Right.
and read stuff because, well, I'm studying and stuff. It's just so boring. And
Hmm.
you at the same time you get a lot of these like fun music releases, especially like with dancing and all of that. And I just feel like, hey, I just want my own like feeling of the dance floor because I haven't been out for ages, and I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
need to let it out.
That energy that you get from it, but also like a release of energy as well.
Yeah, it's there's nothing more boring than to listen to dance music or like music that is very like uh, groovy, and while you're just sitting in your bed or just
Yeah, just in there. Okay, so we've had some ABBA, bit of Robin. Um, what's going to take us take us into the maybe the 12 o'clock kind of arena of New
Oh,
Year's.
well, I figure some Eurodance will do
Hmm.
well, something like Aqua's Barbie Girl.
Okay, great. Yeah, that was the
Or
first album I ever bought. So
oh,
first single and album.
amazing. It's a legendary album.
Hmm.
Absolutely.
So good.
Um, well, a lot of Eurodance, perhaps something, like little bit, like left field, like something from The Knife, or perhaps
Hmm.
Hercules Affair, some like great, like beat driven stuff that, yeah, that just gonna keep the mood going on.
Great. I mean, this sounds good. And are you a bit? So, if you're DJing, are you a bit of a dancer behind the DJ booth? If we came and saw you, yeah.
Absolutely, I have to move, and because I feel that, well, I mean, no shade to other DJs, of course, but I feel that it is always so boring, to see, they always look so anonymous behind the decks, just
Hmm.
being like, like you see the dim light from the computer on their face, and they're just kind of like moving, pushing some buttons and stuff like that, and I know that they're doing their job and all of that, but I just feel that where's the, like the connection with the, with the other dancers. You don't have to dance all the time, behind the deck, but you just have to move,
Hmm. Yeah, yeah. It was a
because
performance as well, right? I guess.
exactly, and you also feel at the same time what you need for your mix when you're dancing, because when you're not moving, you just don't really feel as tired, you don't know, okay, perhaps I have to go a tad lower on the bpms, or now I need, like a sugar rush or something like that.
Yeah.
So dancing, behind the decks, it brings, I mean, is just really, really good for your own mix as
Mm-hmm.
well,
Mm-hmm.
because you feel what the dancers feel.
Yeah, yeah. No, totally. I see that. And so, do you kind of change up your set in reaction to what the audience, the crowd is doing and like what they're feeling?
Yeah, absolutely. And it's also, I know a lot of DJs hate doing this, but I actually love doing it, because I know there's like different crowds for different, like music and stuff like that. So I can't play, like all of these obscure remixes for, like, I don't know, people at a university club. They obviously want, like the stuff that you can sing to, the stuff that you can dance to. So you have to, work with those parameters. And with that, I feel that it's more, like pleasurable for, like the dancers and the DJ as well, if the DJ sees people dancing and all of that. And it's their party, But I feel that if there was, like a special Dhorin Fireheart sort of like DJ night, then it would be something, absolutely from my own point of view, because it's my party.
Yeah, you can do what you want to.
Yeah.
Oh well, here's hoping to that happening in 2021 for sure. um, so the track we're going to hear from you on the show is your latest single, I believe. Is that right? So Fiken Staffer. I apologize for my pronunciation.
That's quite all right.
So can you tell us a little bit about this new track?
Oh yes. Well, it is a track about, people who just don't get their voice heard enough, like from their family, or like which is something that I found a lot during this, this year, like a lot of queer people and minorities trying to raise up their voice, but
Mm,
like not getting like, how do you say, the response that they need, in order to, how do you say, get their own rights. And I
mhm,
just felt really compelled to write a track about that, about sort of like feeling that you're cursed, because that is what the word fekinstafir means. It
yeah.
means curse in Old Norse language. which
Okay.
is kind of like Icelandic, but
Okay.
but it is sort of like and I sort of like connected with that feeling of just feeling that no matter what you're doing, no matter what you're saying, people just won't listen to you. And if people just took their time and trained their empathy and started to um, sort of like how do you say, understand who you are as a person and or as a group, then I think that people would be far better off. It is a cry for understanding, because what I think, it is not their right to misunderstand. It is our right to be understood as people and as humans,
Hmm.
which is something that I really wanted to write a song about.
Great.
Um, mm,
Oh, amazing. Well, it's a great tune as well, and it's like yeah, you've got a great ability to kind of add in those layers of meaning into stuff that also makes you want to dance as well, which is,
so much.
as I said before, is a great great thing, which I really love. So yeah, no, it's a great new track. And what about next year? What's coming up for you musically? Have you got new stuff coming out or?
Top secret. No, no, just kidding. Well, I've got a surprise for like the first day of this year, which is sort of like a thing, to tide people off before like the next project. I've got a few collaborations lined up,
Hmm.
a few remixes, and a
Great.
few new songs. With it's just so incredible how like with the net, with like the internet, you can just do like all of these collaborations with other people, and it doesn't matter like how big the um, the collaboration is. It really opens up the process of what you're doing,
Yeah.
because I've always thought that I was kind of lonely in my music making, that it's
Hmm.
just me in my own space, and the occasional producer that just like polishes my tracks and all of that,
Yeah.
and more. But now I feel that this year has been, and also I hope that for next year is going to be a more open-ended process with
Mm.
like different collaborations and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So yeah,
absolutely.
that's because I've written so much music. It's crazy, and I really want everything to be released as soon as possible. But it's I don't know. The process. There's like this
Takes
whole
time.
planning, the like the funding and the everything. There's like this whole layer that you have to like think about.
Yeah, yeah. It doesn't just happen like that, unfortunately.
So yeah,
But
a lot of- hmm?
yeah, and I think collaboration and yeah, finding that queer music making community, which I've done the same myself as well, has
Yeah,
been really amazing this year. And a lot of people I've spoken to in this podcast and show have been saying the same. So yeah, I hope there's lots more collaborating and remixing and connections happening, continuing to happen next year.
absolutely.
Ah, fab. Well, I think, speaking of next year, we should do an official toast
Yes.
to 2021. Um, so, have you any message for next year? Obviously, 2020 has been a bit of a tricky one in many ways. But what are your hopes for next year?
Um, well, my hopes for next year is to never stop learning, never stop, um, you know, uh, trying to understand other people, because I feel that this year has been a lot of like learning for a lot of people, considering like with Black Lives Matter,
Absolutely.
like trans people's rights and all of that. And I feel that it gives so much to my own like person to just keep on learning, keep on growing. um, yeah. And that is my message, in fact, to everyone of you who might listen, that never stop learning and never stop being open, and keep building communities as well, no matter where they are, like physical or on the internet. um, that is super important, and I think it is what carried on my year as well. Having my mental health hasn't been the best, but just having this community, this sort of like safe space where I can learn and be inspired from others, has given so much. So the importance of communities is super important.
Absolutely. It's amazing to hear. And I think that's a fantastic message and thought to take into 2021. So, skål and a happy new year for when it comes.
Well, happy New Year.
Cheers. Um, no, Fab, yeah, absolutely. A great message and thought for next year. We'll get through and hopefully keep building things back stronger and better than they were before. I think
Absolutely.
is the plan. So before we finish up, is there just thinking about music and people that you've maybe discovered this year? Are there anybody that you're thinking off the top of your head that we should be checking out? So maybe Swedish artists that we might not know of, or other people that you've connected with online. What's been picking up your ear this year, or maybe you're looking forward to next year?
There's so
I
many,
know,
really.
big list.
Um, Elizabeth Electra, I think,
Yeah,
and I think, and it's mostly because I've really, it is thanks to her that I've been able to, like, connect with others in
great.
that community, and her music as well is just so thought through, like every single level, like with the mysticism and the
Mm,
wholly personal, which is something like super inspiring for me.
yeah,
And I'm really thankful to have been, connecting with her and her music as well.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
She's one of a favorite find for me this year as well. Definitely.
yeah, absolutely.
Fab. Well, yeah, and here's hoping for much more from her and from you as well next year. Well, thank you so much for coming to chat to me, and I hope we will connect in real life at some point as well, somewhere on the dance floor. Robin,
Absolutely.
Robin's waiting for us.
Yeah.
Well, happy New Year when it comes, and here's to a fantastic, creative 2021. So,
Happy New Year to you too, then. And
thank you.
thank you so much for having me. And hope 2021 becomes really fantastic for
Yeah,
you. Yeah.
thank you, and for you.
Mhm.
Well, cheers, and until next time. Bye.